So today we're going to take a look at some retirement tools within the Wealth Vault. Right now I have a project called My 2026 Finances, which we set up before, has one file attached. I'm in offline mode, meaning there's no access to anything online. And like I explained before, this tool has very limited access to anything online. Everything lives locally on your machine. So I'm going to proceed to the vault, and I should show you at any time you can switch to that limited online mode. And you notice that the real-time switch became available, and now all the stock tickers and so forth are going to be showing today's figures. So today's stock prices or any sort of real-time things. What's in blue is the things that are going to be updated. But today we're going to go ahead and take a look at retirement estimates and what's there. So there's some tools here to help you make a rough estimate or get a ballpark figure about where you're at, if you're trending in the right direction for retirement. So I'll just change at the top here, current age, and I'll just put something different. Let's see, like 42. Okay. And then what age I want to retire at, retirement age, I'll say, 65. Um, Monthly contribution, if you're putting in a certain amount every single month, which you probably should be, let's just put 800 right there. And then, you can leave the current portfolio as is, which we'll do. This is just basically adding up everything within, whatever you loaded in, your brokerage, the manual holdings that you've put into place, anything that's actually been built. It's going to go ahead and take a look at those and come up with your total portfolio value. And you can also say includes 401k accounts. I'll click yes. And that's going to basically take the 401k accounts that are down below here. And of course, this is a pretty large figure just because this is a test project, but I think it's a good example regardless, even though there's a lot there. You can go and you can change the return rate. So you have an opportunity to use the project's portfolio yield percentage or type in what you expect to get. So let's say if you only think you're going to get 4%, you can enter that in there. But we'll leave it at the typical 7%. You can do a spend goal, and you could say, you enter your own annual spend percentage if you want to, or you can type in a value here. I'll do that. I'll just type 60,000. And then below you have your 401ks. Now here we have some made up ones like Initech, Springfield Electric, Acme 401k. We'll add another one that just goes down to bottom. We'll call this one Gotham Industries. And Gotham Industries 401k. And we'll say there's 138,000 in that one. Okay. And on the right hand side, like all the other pages, there's some buttons like you can reorganize these, move them up or down, however you want to review them. You can change colors. This is more for you just to kind of notate certain things in here. So you can just make them different colors if you like. You can attach a note to them. And then obviously the trash can will let you delete it as well. Then you have pensions you can add in. Right now I just have one that says 955. And then you have some Social Security estimates as well. And so you can type in, what's your current annual income, your claim age, expected salary, and then expected inflation as well. And it's going to take into account all of these things that we've input in here and provide some estimates down below. Estimates include things like how many years you have until retirement. That one's pretty obvious, not an estimate, but it says 23 here. Projected portfolio at retirement, and it's saying some huge figure here. That would be awesome, 23 million. But 4% rule annual spend. You'll be living large in retirement with 925,000. And then the 4% rule annual spend, Social Security annual, pension annual, dividends annual, dividend income coverage, annuity annual, and then the total annual available. And then basically, if you're not on track, this will change. This would say you're not on track. Uh, but in this case, because there's just so much money in this example project, it's saying on track that you're going to be all right. The other things you can look at as well, which I'll get into at another time, is here in planning. You kind of play with things. You can say, okay, take into consideration or not take into consideration my 401k. You can set it to ignore. You can say ignore my pension. Maybe you just want to see where you are with your dividends and your savings account and so forth. And then it's going to show you a projection per year, additionally adding in Social Security. So you could just knock out Social Security as well and see where you're at. And it's going to give you an idea. So you notice that when Social Security is on, you'll notice that it gets much larger later on when you're able to take it. Um, yeah, so those are a lot of really helpful tools, I think, for you to play with to try to get kind of like a ballpark projection of where you're at and if you're on track to retire on time.